myself. My name is Jesse Levin. We run the Western division of my dad's company. Started about 25 years ago in the chemical business, doing a lot of odor and dust control on the eastern part of the lower 48 states. You know, I brought it out to California when I moved west and kind of started off very small, but since then, over the last 11, 12 years, we do a lot of the largest municipalities in the United States. We do all the private companies from Waste Management to Republic and even Progressive Waste Solutions, that's also in the Canadian territories, as well as BFI. That's kind of how we got into this. We were doing a lot of work with Republic Services, which is also tied into Rabenko, and they gave us a call because they know we've been successful doing the odor control from Abbotsford to Roosevelt Landfill in Washington State. Thank you very much for giving me and my company an opportunity to come up here and hopefully present some solutions that, you know, work for you. The one thing in this short amount of time that I got from listening to everybody is that each facility is going to be different. There's not going to be something where I can just put a cookie cutter kind of thing together and you guys say, hey, that's what's going to work across the board. So what I've been doing throughout the day is taking notes on each individual site, what I think is pertinent information for us to kind of put together a plan based upon some of the products that we have, so that way I can get that to Emily and to Robin and say, you know, they can disperse it through each of the communities as a platform for us to start. But a lot of the big issues you guys are dealing with, not only with the container stuff, but, you know, just from North Arm, TSA, Rabenko, is communication. Throughout this whole process, one of the biggest things that Scott and I deal with and our company deals with is lack of communication. You know, we could have a great program in place for each individual community, but, you know, as soon as somebody changes something or more trash comes in or one community is having more construction, like you were saying, there was a lot of C&D, you know, if that's not communicated to us, you know, we won't be able to help adjust the odor control product consumption or usages to try to combat some of the odors. Anybody can reach me or my brother at any time. You know, we want constant feedback. We're looking to be a long-term solution. We're not here to just try to drop something off to you and get an order next go around. You know, we want to be a solution so that way we can have this as a notch on our belt that we were successful and take this to other areas that might have similar issues. Before I spoke, my brother kind of handed out a little cut sheet. And this is just a short little write-up on the different products that our companies offer. You can go onto our website and download technical data if you need it. You know, I'll make sure that Robin and Emily have the technical data just as far as if any of the communities, people are concerned or about what it's doing to their, you know, if there's any health effects or if there's any effects with the environment. All of our products are 100% biodegradable. The liquid has a pH of 7, which is the equivalency to hand and facial soap, so it's not going to change anything if it gets into the water streams or anything like that. The granules, the granules are 100% biodegradable. Basically, when Emily and Robin had came to me, one of the big issues that they had mentioned is the bugs associated with the transportation. So we are trying to use some neutralizers. All of our products are neutralizers. There's other companies that sell detergents, deodorants, masking agents, etc. Over time, those compound the problems, and it's basically water with perfume. You know, whereas ours is actually, it's an engineered product in our lab that's designed to actually eliminate the odor molecules. And then some of what you may call a perfume, we call it a tracer. You know, we have a couple of different tracers that are applicable for different situations. You know, the cherry, and another one that we have, citrus, which is a high active ingredient in there, is citronella, which is a natural bug repellent. You know, some of those products work really well in fighting off bugs. None of these products will kill the bugs. None of these products are going to 100% eliminate the bugs. You know, dealing with EPA, Environmental Protection Agency, in the lower 48, if you put that kill claim, so to say, on your label, there's a hell of a lot more expenses in getting that approved, and there's a whole bunch of different warnings and things like that. You know, we're able to just talk about what has worked at some facilities and use that to share with you guys, and hope that that'll aid in the barge transportation, on your end.
How many applications would you have to put in as the liquid or granule on a full lease? Would it be several?
Yeah, it's going to be several, and it's going to vary from time of year, because as you get into warmer conditions, odors start to come up. It's going to vary if those sale charts that we were looking at earlier, if the pickup time between the containers starts to get affected for whatever unforeseen reason, be it weather, strikes, whatever the situation is. If those containers are sitting longer, the decomposition process is already kicking up as the waste is in the trash bags. You've got your heat, you've got food.
Yep. Because bin fills up relatively uniformly, would you have to spray it once, twice, 5
Well, what I would
times?
like to do is I would start with the granules, and I would put the granules in, and Robin was nice enough to bring this with me. I was trying to think of items that are very cost effective for you guys to use, so you don't have to spend more money on equipment. I know, some of these products are not inexpensive by any stretch of the imagination. So one of the things that they're using at Roosevelt Landfill for their train cars that come in from Abbotsford is their guys basically have these 1 gallon milk containers. They cut the bottom off, and if you don't have the cap, duct tape works great. And you have those white plastic bins. Those are 40-pound container bins. We also have 100-pound container bins, but they come in a recycled type cardboard. And so I was figuring a lot of the facilities that deal with a lot of rain, it could be counterproductive to storing it. And so I thought the plastic might be best, where you could just take a scoop in, fill it up as close as you can to the top, and you kind of just disperse it down at the bottom. And by throwing it into the bottom of the empty container, you're getting a good kind of coverage pattern, and that'll set a base. And then with the granules, depending upon how quickly within that 45-day period, if that's what we're using as our, kind of benchmark there, however, I would put granules in per load. Maybe, if you're getting a couple of pickups, I think, Andrew, you were saying you pick up twice a week. Every time you guys are adding trash to the container bins, I would be adding in granules. And also another measure for the liquid, does each facility, is it uniform or is it different? Do you guys tarp at the end of the day? I mean, how does that, the bin's 100% open, or does it sit in that kind of...
Ours is self-contained.
Self-contained, okay.
Right.
Yep. So is there a way at the end of the days to possibly do a topical application, so that way you're spraying down kind of and encapsulating the odors that are coming out of the bin with the liquid neutralizer? Is that feasible?
It just opens right in.
Yeah, and then you can use one of the sprayers and spray it down. So from your standpoint, Peter, that's what I would do. I would do the hard granules every time trash is added in, and at the end of each operating day, if feasible, I would use those sprayers with the liquid, because then you're creating a topical application. And then for when you're tarping it and the barges are coming to take it, that's when I would really focus more so on the liquid. Even though I know a lot of the tarps kind of act as an anti-absorbent, can't have it too as an absorbing material, because then it just adds a heck of a lot of weight to it. From the tarping standpoint, that's when I would try to spray it down, because that's when we'll be able to aid in the a lot of the bugs being transferred during the barge process. You might use less in the spring months, you might use more in the summer months. You might have the holiday season, you might use more because there's more food waste that's coming in. If construction picks up at one, community versus another, and you're getting a lot of sheetrock and that stuff's getting wet because of the rain, smells like rotten eggs, I mean, there's a lot of variables that come into play for each different community. And then obviously your concern is during the transportation of it. Mike's concern as well is during the transportation of it. So if there's issues during the transportation with odors, one of the things that we mentioned to begin with was possibly having material on the barge, but I know space is at a premium on that. I don't know how feasible or from an operational standpoint, if it's something that we can do to have one of those sprayers for your guys to do that. So the sprayers that we put the bill on those, we sent those out. You know, I have the handheld Hudson fertilizer sprayer, and then in those cardboard boxes are actually a backpack, where it's your Hudson sprayer but with a backpack. And I was just thinking, you know, if somebody had to climb up towards a bin, or, you know, I didn't know what all the situations were for the transfer station, so to say, at each community. So I thought the backpacks are also a very easy way to have it and just spray it versus carrying up something and possibly risking injury. Since they started using us from Abbotsford to Roosevelt, well, Sumas and then Roosevelt, they've eliminated the odor complaints from the communities.
You were saying with the huge 48-foot containers,
Yes, ma'am.
that scoop, or maybe two of those,
Yeah, I would say
sprinkled in that entire
Two.
48-foot length,
Yep.
would be a good.
That's a good for your base, and then based upon the odors that are emanating out of the containers, how often you want to add that. You know, that's really something that's going to be up to how much trash is coming in, and really to the individual. It could be Andrew, you know, his nose might be sensitive compared to other people's where they say that the odors are strong, and to put it in. It might be less on Andrew's side because he doesn't have the community there possibly mad at him, where, you know, Hartley has to deal with that because they have John and Jane Smith that are living next door, you know. If I provide kind of a groundwork to Emily and to Robin on how to use these products and how to apply them for your facility, can you guys commit to Emily and Robin in saying that we'll test this out and we'll be able to give you feedback on what does or doesn't work, and maybe even modify it specifically for your facilities?
Thank you for joining us today.